right, so here's a really beautiful, interesting book here. You can see it's got all these gold decorations on the front here. It's called the Emblem, and as we'll see in a moment here, this is actually a Masonic gift book. So it's a book containing all these essays about Masonic topics, and it would be given to somebody as a gift typically. So you can see on the spine here there's these decorations as well. All of this is on the back pretty much the same as what's on the front. I think it's actually identical. I'm not sure if there's maybe a subtle difference or not. But you can see the edges are all gilded as well. So you can see that sheen there on the as the light reflects on the gold. So all the edges of the paper there are all gilded. And this is I'm not sure exactly when this book was printed or what edition this is, though it's pretty old, as we're going to see here. There's not a publication date printed in here, but there are some notes that kind of give an approximation of the date. So here's a really beautiful engraving at the beginning of the book. This one isn't labeled really with what it's depicting, so it's sort of unclear who this is supposed to be or what it represents. But it's just sort of a beautiful image at the beginning of the book. And then this is a floral image here. It's a little tricky to read, but it says presented to, and then it's a woman's name there, from her friend on December 25th. I think it says 1861. So as a Christmas present in 1861, this book was given from a friend to this woman here. And this is a pretty typical kind of thing to see in gift books like this, a page where you can write who it's from and who it's to and everything. So this is the title page. It says The Emblem, a Gift for All Seasons, with new and elegant illustrations. And then faith, hope, and charity, which are sort of the three Masonic virtues. And then the publishing house there, which is Levitt and Allen. And here's the table of contents. So you can see the first three ones are Masonic charity, ancient mysteries, the origin of Freemasonry, and then it goes on with all these different essays about different topics related to Masonry, or just expounding some of the virtues that they hold. So some of these are actually little fictional stories that are meant to communicate some sort of moral lesson or something along those lines. And then some are just kind of, here we go. Here's the preface. So, Masonic literature, rich in all that pertains to the antiquity of the order, its growth and maturity, while it affords much to illustrate the genial influence of its principles upon the domestic and the social circle, has hitherto lacked that attractive form so fitting for gift books, and which has been adopted with so much advantage by other social organizations. Almost every society and order has its souvenir or offering or annual, and the idea associated with these caskets of choice literature, that which makes them valuable, is at once a principle and an inculcation of our order. The editors of this volume have attempted to furnish a cluster from the field of thought and feeling cultivated under the broad sheen of our cherished institutions, that shall be agreeable to the taste of the fraternity. That they may not have made the most desirable selections in all cases is quite probable, but they do not hesitate to commit their work to the friendly criticism of those to whom it is inscribed, nor do they entertain the fear that they have entirely failed in the enterprise to which they have applied their efforts. And take a look at that, the font on the preface there. And also the font here at the beginning of their chapters. They've got this sort of three-dimensional print. So yeah, there's a lot of different kind of collected works in here, and in most cases the author's name is given right under the title of the chapter or the piece that's written. There's a few engravings. Here's one of them. So it's right next to the section about the Masonic ladder, and it's a depiction of justice. So it's just representation of the concept of justice. It's got the scales and the sword there. No blindfold, which is interesting to note. And there's sort of a glory or a halo around their head. Just a really, really pretty engraving there, and the other ones in the book are just as amazing. So this is just a section about the Masonic ladder. In ancient Masonry, the ladder was figuratively said to rest on the Holy Bible and to consist of 3 principal staves, although the general number was indefinite, pointing to faith, hope, and charity as the fundamental virtues which exalt mankind from earth to heaven. So this book is pretty steeped in religious thought. It's all pretty Christian based, though. This is a really beautiful thing here. So this book I picked up also at a thrift store, but this was just in it when I got it, and you can see it here. It's a pressed flower that's on this paper with a pin, and the note says, "Papa found this on 29 November 1886. So this has been in here since, I'm guessing a child must have put that in there and made a note about their father finding it or something like that. But all the way back in 1886, and it's still here with that note. It just makes you think about the lives of the people who have read this book or held on to this book or who used to own it, and what life must have been like for them at that time. And there's also some sections in here that are just some poetry trying to communicate some sort of moral or virtuous lesson. So you can see here, this is about the order. So, "'Twas not a love of earthly mold that first awoke this sweet communion, and earth can never break the hold of such a heaven-enkindled union. The silken cord hath bound them fast, and every storm that beateth round them, and sorrow's dark and bitter's blast, still draws them closer than it found them." All right, so I'm kind of just flipping through here, looking for more notable sections. It looks like there's another engraving right here, and they've got these so this one is for hope. So this represents hope, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure if I'm reading hope out of that. It looks a little sorrowful, but she's holding that book close to her, so maybe that's representative of that. All of these engravings have a little bit of tissue paper before them in order to prevent the ink from transferring to the other page. With the dedication at the beginning of this book, we know it was produced earlier than 1861, since that was when it was given to somebody, with that pencil note at the beginning. I'm not sure when it was first printed. Some things online for similar versions say around 1854, I think, but I'm not sure about this one. "There is a world, the world of mind, by neither time nor space confined, and when we cease in flesh to dwell, that world will be our heaven or hell. By fallen nature 'tis, alas, a rude, chaotic, shapeless mass, devoid of goodness, truth, or light, and veiled in blackest shades of night." So this is just a sort of spiritual poem about sort of being spiritually resurrected, it looks like, with pretty Christian themes. And that's pretty common to see in different types of older Masonic literature like this, since they were, especially in America, very Christian-centric, as far as I know. It's a section for an old manuscript, it looks like. Alright, and here's another engraving. This one is for charity. You can see a small child there giving looks like some money to an older baker with some sort of kindly figure overseeing them. Probably that adult represents charity, or the spirit of charity. And so I'm just looking through the sort of back end of the book here. Here's a section about the 4 cardinal virtues. So temperance is the first one here. Temperance implies a restraint of the passions, which reduces the animal body to the power of government and submission to its requirements, and extricates the mind from the manacles of vice. Of course, this should be practiced by every Mason, as it teaches him to avoid excess, licentious, and vicious habits, the practice of which might lead him in an unguarded... so basically it's saying practice temperance, or you might end up divulging the secrets of Masonry. So that's the full book there. Just a really beautiful made old book here. It's also a good introduction to some Masonic ideas. So that's it. Feel free to leave us a comment if you'd like, and we'll see you next time. Bye.